and I was part of a family that was very well knit.
What we are doing is we want to terminate healthcare.
Atmospheric filth.
Action replays in magnified portion. De-engineering. People want other people to stop shooting and knifing people to death. God bless the United States. Thank you very much. Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill. They don't like the gas. Immortal principles. Roll up. You're gonna frack. They don't like the gas. You're gonna frack. And then roll up. They're de-engineering. When they gaze upon Yosemite, wildlife refuges. I mean, you look at this, you look at what we do with our wildlife. Michigan gave us Votan. We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges. Michigan gave us Votan. We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President Mike Pence and his wonderful wife Karen. Michigan gave us Votan. A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua. They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately. I do because I have a good memory because I'm cognitively there.
Maybe, yes, he is a little bit. Yeah. Maybe, yes, he is a little bit. Yes.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
All right, let's get it started. Let's get it started. Come on now. Here we go. All right, there you go. I don't know why my Stream Deck buttons aren't working. What are you doing, Stream Deck? I see that you can see. You're just frozen. That's not good. That's not good. Oh well, I'll manage. So much to cover. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining me at Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. It's a show I do every day, practically. Monday through Friday anyways. And then Saturday's the radio show. And then occasionally if there's a rally or something, I cover that as well. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the morning show. If you want to join me for that, that's at 9 a.m. And of course, like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show in any way you can. Patreon.com, super chats, all that kind of stuff. I'm too busy doing a show to read all the super chats out loud. Somebody got mad about that. Like, that's what happens on other shows. That's not what happens here. Only do it if you want to and you need to. Don't do it for waving your hand in the back of the room going, look at me. That's not what it's for. Just support the show if you'd like to. And that'd be a good thing. Hold on. Low volume. Hold on. Is it better? Seem a little quieter? Maybe I need to move a little closer as well. Hi. Hello. How are you? Good afternoon. Welcome. Yay! Venice said, thank you so much. Level 2 hype train starting at Twitch. Twitch.tv/HalSparks. Oh, there's so much going on. And to our friends over on Facebook, I'm sorry about the stock crashing around your place of hangout. It must be terrible over there at Meta. Yo, I wonder when the Facebook logo on the chats and stuff is going to change to the Meta logo, which is that like drooping infinity, which is, I know what they're trying to do, but they're not pulling it off. That's the bite. Anyways, welcome to the show. Glad you could be here. Tomorrow, just so you know, regular show, and then Wednesday morning I won't have a morning show because I will be just arriving in Miami to get on the boat for the Monsters of Rock cruise, which is, I think we disembark 3 Eastern time, 3 or 4 Eastern time. So I should be in my room, able to do my show regular time, in theory, Wednesday night. So no morning show Wednesday, but afternoon show should be fine. Fingers crossed, and that the internet holds up. But I'm going to splurge for the internet package, thanks to the blessings of Hal Vickery and Rob Glenn and others in our Patreon family and the like. And so, you know, hopefully we'll be good. If I have to, because of shifting schedules on the boat, I have to move my show up or down, I will try and give you guys as much info as I can. And then if I'm just out in the sun and I come in and I'm all burned up, I'm sorry ahead of time if I have sunburn at any time. But thanks, Kyung. Glad you guys could join us. So much to cover today. Oh, the terribleness. By the way, there's a guy next door with a leaf blower. So if it's loud, I apologize, but I'll talk over it. Where do we start? There's so much. There's just so much today. There is so much today. Here, we'll go to this guy. Oh, that's not me. Hold on. There we go. This is I don't know why Sean Hannity looks like that. I think his staff cut this just to mess with him. Pretty certain they just bypassed thumbnails entirely and went, let's catch him on a good mid-frame. This is what happens when your staff hates you. This is when everyone who works in the building gets assigned to work on your show and they don't like you. And so they just, did Mar-a-Lago just get raided? No, it did not. He is doing Trump Orange today. He's still showing his fidelity. They just went down there and picked the stuff up. There was no raid. They just went, hey guys, we're gonna need that. And they were like, oh, okay. Bonnie, I will not turn orange. I will get pink cheeks and then I will brown. That's how I actually do tan. I am capable of tanning. It's a brown eyes thing, I guess. I don't burn, really. So that's good. That was what it was, Stuart. Yeah, it's a leaf blower. It's not you. He's right over the other side of the wall. I apologize. So it's okay. All right. So there's a bunch of stuff. There's a war between the two most miserable people on the internet right now. These two guys. It's rough to decide. We're gonna have to make that decision. It's gonna be a 5 eggs kind of a decision, and then it's a night of strategery over there with Sebastian Gorka, MTG, and Matt Gaetz, who is aging swiftly before our eyes. Fuck if he doesn't look like Nixon now. I am not a child trafficker, but we are going to keep the dog. And then Lou Dobbs is coming to you live from the home. Which will be a lot of fun, and then we get a double shot of Salcido and Don Jr. Who I don't know is this a puffed shirt? Because he looks like it looks like an ass. It's like there's no way I don't know. All right, we'll deal with that later. Right now, Sean Hannity. This is an international disgrace. It's a disgrace. I don't think you understand. It's a disgrace, whatever he's talking about. We'll find out. Oh, let's see. Very excited. This is the opening monologue of Sean Hannity telling you what the business. This is an internet, folks. It's a disgrace.
Now,
All right.
tonight, as you may or may not have noticed, the Winter Olympics are now underway. Yep, that's right. The hostile regime of the communist Chinese in Beijing. Make no mistake, this is an international disgrace.
Yes, I noticed you titled your video that, or someone else did on your behalf. I'm very excited to see how we weren't supposed to go. We're supposed to deny the athletes, or the fact that we did. All right, we'll find out.
Because of its vile communist dictatorship, China.
Tainted. Really? That close to a big dark hole? Tainted?
Is
Level
a
5.
uniquely, well, awful, terrible place on Earth. The vast majority of their
His grasp of the language is great. It's a uniquely awful, terrible place. It's not good.
4 billion people, they live in abject poverty and squalor, and
No, they don't. All right. Half of them live in squalor. The other half absolutely don't. That's part of the problem, dummy.
they're the lucky ones. China's ethnic minority Muslims, the Uyghurs, they're forced to live in camps where they're used to slave labor, torture.
They're used to it. They're used to slave labor. Are they? You don't actually talk for a living, do you? Run that by me again. Word salad.
And by the way, they're the lucky ones. China's ethnic minority Muslims, the Uyghurs, they're forced to live in camps where they're used to slave labor, torture, murder.
You mean they're used for slave labor, and they're forced to live in concentration camps or whatever, not just camps. It's not. Anyways, it'll be America's fault in a minute.
Happens, and one of China's star tennis players just disappeared after accusing a communist official of rape. Her claims were wiped right off of China's internet. There is no freedom in China. There's no freedom of religion, no freedom of speech, no freedom of thought, no freedom at all.
Well, technically speaking, there is freedom of thought. There's always freedom of thought. It's the saying of the thoughts that gets you in trouble. Malignant Republic of China. All right. Well, he'll get to the point in a second.
You can be thrown in jail for using the wrong words, believing the wrong things, or sharing.
No. Using the wrong words, yes. Believing the wrong things, no. Because again, they don't have a mind ray yet.
Wrong links online. Censorship, that rules the day. And if I were in China, I'd be locked up probably right about now for this monologue. Now, let's not forget, China affected the world with the COVID-19 virus. Then they covered it up, and millions of people worldwide died as a result. We're going to have a lot.
Yes, where they apparently, according to Sean Hannity and everyone at Fox News, they died of a fake disease that China unleashed on the world on purpose, accidentally, that Trump handled greatly with vaccines you shouldn't take because they're dangerous. I'm sorry. Does anyone else smell burnt toast?
More on China, the Olympics coming up, but let's be clear.
That back.
This is a shining real-world example of the left's ideology in practice. Authoritarianism, we call it.
Yeah, because this is what the left wants. They want China.
If Bernie Sanders had his way, this is what the U.S. eventually would look like. This is why we are so adamant.
That Bernie Sanders wants to round up Uyghurs. It's a matter of degree.
Opposed to censorship, cancel culture, boycotts, all the things we discussed.
Oh, you mean like the truckers or book burning? You're not gonna show a picture of the right-wing Christians burning books, but I mean that's kind of a permanent form of cancel. There's one thing to ban a book from your own library, but to set fire to copies of it, that book's not going to be read anymore, one would think. But I'm sorry, you were saying we're canceling. This is all, let me guess, because of how Joe Rogan is being made to feel over the company he sold himself to do his shows, limits on what they'd allow him to show. We're all guilty of censorship. I agree, right?
Often. One of the reasons we criticize fake news CNN is not just because they frequently lie and they spread conspiracy theories and they advance one hoax after another, but also under Jeff Zucker, recently fired, CNN wanted
he stepped down.
End Fox News. He hired multiple high-level staffers. Their only purpose...
That's weird. All right, look. Whoever is got their account at Fiverr, they're not paying you enough. That's hilarious. What is happening?
Was to watch and to track and to stalk people like me and others on Fox News and people on talk radio and get us taken off the air or...
Wait a minute, stalk you? You mean watch what you actually say and comment on it?
Boycotted and silenced. And because, as Humpty Dumpty once hysterically squealed, our opinions are poison. This all happened while Zucker and his co-worker girlfriend coordinated with then Democratic Governor Cuomo. I told you, there's a lot more to this story. Now we're...
Yeah, it's just the whole thing's imploding. Except it isn't, and nobody really cares except people who work there.
Anyway, and presumably other Democrats, they wanted to take down Trump. They were trying to build up Andrew Cuomo into a presidential candidate.
Were they?
I'm sure we're going to be learning even more about this unraveling scandal in the weeks ahead, but it is now official. Fake news CNN, they're imploding. Zucker's gone. The knives are out. And according to reports, fake Jake Tapper referred to Chris Cuomo as a terrorist. Wow. Jim Acosta is openly worrying that CNN will become...
Okay, hold on. Oh, this is Insider again. CNN stars, including Jake Tapper, raised concerns about Jeff Zucker's exit. Intense internal meeting. Very exciting. Very exciting. So much information. Let's check it out. Let's see. Not that I really care. This is so boring. But CNN stars, including Jake Tapper. Let's see. Yeah, that should get me the title, I would think. Linked audio. Yeah, Business Insider. CNN star, yeah. Leaked audio. Whoops. Oh, quit it. No, I don't want that. What the? You rat. Daily Mail has it. Inside the explosive meeting with CNN stars angry over Jeff Zucker's resignation, Jake Tapper calls Chris Cuomo a terrorist. Jim Acosta said network would now become Fox News Light, and Caitlin Collins unleashed fury on the media in Warner Media CEO. CNN's top talents are slamming Jason Kilar over the sudden ousting of network president who resigned Wednesday. Leaked audio with a Tapper alleged it could be perceived that Zucker lost his job by refusing to pay terrorist Cuomo the $18 million remaining in his contract. 18 is okay. Jim Acosta weighed in, alleging the network's core content values will likely evolve in the wake of Zucker's resignation. Killer declined to answer specific reason. CEO also said he was focused on company values over business concerns. Honestly, you got a bunch of people that this guy hired who have been on the air for a while doing what they believe is good work, and I agree for the most part. And they're pissed that he's getting surreptitiously kicked out using this 20-year affair he's had with somebody who's a functional adult. But that also, I think they're concerned that it's an excuse that's being used by people who want CNN to tack right to get more viewers under a Biden administration. The idea that if you tack the opposite way of the administration in your coverage, you'll get more of the audience that's kicked out. And of course, I don't know why Fox wants this, because it would eat into their bottom line. Yeah.
Fox News Light, Caitlin Collins, apparently, according to reports, had a fit of rage. And get this, the Discovery executive who's soon going to take over fake news CNN, had this to say about the so-called Facts First network. Take a look.
We have this great entertainment menu, which should keep people in the home, from the kids to the grandparents. Why would they go anywhere else? And then we're the leader in news to the left. And we're now,
Definitely
one of the leaders in
to the
sports.
Left. Definitely.
Right.
Did you say to the left? Man, you weren't kidding. No, that was an aside. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
They're not even the leader of news to the left. That would be MSDNC.
Oh, you mean the network that beats you in the ratings so soundly that Rachel Maddow can now take 3 months off to go make a movie?
Zasloff, his name, it would later issue a clarification and claim he was referring to the left side of the portfolio, not the left side of the political spectrum.
Right, he was.
Adds a little mystery to it. One of the smartest guys on TV.
And yet,
I don't think that was said by accident. More to come.
No, it wasn't. He was referring to the left side of the portfolio. That it wasn't an accident. That's true. He's smarter than that. If it was hiding the fact that it was left wing, if you would believe he's smarter than that, then he would have said it on purpose.
On that. And by the way, why is MSDNC? Why have they not covered at all CNN's?
Because they don't care. Because the internal workings of another network aren't their business, and they've got other stories to do, largely about Trump shredding documents, the Ukraine crisis. There's a myriad of things. There's a lot of news going. I don't know if you've noticed, Sean, but this is sort of the cable news version of when people go. I don't know how many of you guys have a YouTuber besides me that you like, but if in a lot of the video oriented YouTube world, and I guess to some degree on the Twitch streaming side of things, there are these weird little feuds that break out, between the whoever they are, the Mr. Beasts and the Ninjas and the PewDiePies and all that shit. And it happens with some regularity, and it becomes a thing. You know what I mean? Like they start doing videos about these other people. And honest to God, I don't, most of the time if this comes up through, I can watch I watch a bunch of these folks for study, when we, for videos that I do later and yada, yada, or because I'm interested. And a lot of times this will come up. Have you guys ever experienced that? Where you're like, oh, so-and-so is mad at so-and-so over something they said in their video, and it's blown up into this whole online, high school level thing. And honest to God, I don't give a shit. When those videos come up, I never watch them because I find them tiresome and childish. This is that. MSNBC isn't covering CNN because they don't care. Why is it even news to you guys? Who gives a fuck? Yeah. Yeah, it's high school gossip.
They have some kind of secret agreement because that
Yes, to focus on actual news.
would be pretty weird for two networks who claim to be journalistic institutions, right? And here's another.
Well, yeah, but you can't present your own hypothesis of collusion and then go, that'd be pretty weird, huh? If they did that with no evidence therein. That would be weird, huh? It'd be weird if a guy who says he does the nightly news would pull a theory like that out of his ass with no backup in a lame attempt to have a high school fight with CNN.
Question.
That's right. Did you hear? Fox told me that CNN and MSNBC are dating. CNN and MSNBC sitting in a tree. Newing. Newsing. Newsing. I was trying. That's terrible. All right. Boo-hoo.
Oh, poor Humpty Dumpty. He and his assistant, I don't know, some guy named Oliver, whose grand ambition in life is to be Humpty. They can
By the way, he's calling him that because he has a round head and he's fat, and that's Sean trying to make, I guess, some sort of point. I guess he's sensitive. I mean, Sean is probably very sensitive about his looks. He does look like an aging member of our gang.
continue to heap their praise on their former boss, writing a glowing tribute to Zucker. Sounds like they're putting all their chips in the Zucker basket, maybe anticipating they won't be there long. Maybe Humpty knows his days are numbered. Maybe he's trying to hop onto the Zucker bandwagon and see.
Yes, where he's retiring essentially with a golden parachute and might go work someplace else. Yeah, that's what you do. You throw in behind the dude because you want to get a job that he doesn't even have yet.
He lands next. Humpty for once might be actually right. Meanwhile, another guy who loves censorship, Mark Zuckerberg, is also facing severe consequences after a terrible earnings report and Facebook's record drop in the stock market. Wow, Zuckerberg's net worth just plummeted by $31 billion. By the way, his entire company, I think it was $250 billion.
Yes, so what? It didn't happen, by the way. It didn't happen because oh my God, they're colluding to throw Republicans offline. Oh my God, they're censoring people. It was an earnings call. I don't even know the fuck why their valuation is that high to begin with. It's silly. Plus, a shit ton of people are taking their winnings off the table, and Facebook's a part of a ginormous number of like group funds.
Keep in mind, Facebook has been hemorrhaging traffic ever since Zuckerberg decided to meddle in the 2020 presidential election.
Yeah, apparently it didn't hurt their bottom line at all when they meddled in 2016.
Remember, he was also responsible for censoring a very true and damaging report about Joe and Hunter Biden in the days leading up to.
No, it wasn't damaging and it wasn't true and it's garbage and there is no Hunter Biden laptop. Prove me wrong.
The election. Maybe Zuckerberg could be more worried about creating a usable platform, less worried about the political opinions of Americans who are not from Silicon Valley and don't.
Well, no, it's the people on Facebook, anyways. The concern is people who pose as Americans who aren't from, who might be in the valleys closest to the Caucasus, like the Caucasus Mountains.
Share his radical left-wing views. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that actual liberals promoted transparency. They so-called hated censorship. Still, they existed inside the Democratic Party. Now with cancel culture, dark money rules the day among the radical left.
A shady liberal funding network is pushing Biden's hand for SCOTUS pick. Caitlin Sutherland. Oh, you mean like the Heritage Foundation who picked all of Trump's choices for SCOTUS? Is that who it can't be them, right? Can't be the list they gave him at the beginning of his presidency and said, install these judges? No? Why do you think he was pissed about Kavanaugh and Gorsuch and to some degree Amy Coney Barrett? He feels let down by them because they weren't his choices. He didn't care. He didn't care to look at them. They were on the list. It was like a Pez dispenser.
One Schumer-aligned group just raised $100 million from unidentified donors. Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Unidentified donors? Okay, great, Sean. I'm so glad you came on board. Donors should be identified. Cool. Take that to the Republicans and make them sign to overturn Citizens United and make all political donations, put a sunshine law on all of it. No? Not going to do that? Why not? Why wouldn't you? It seems like a great thing to do. If you're upset about dark money, correct? Right? Isn't that the point of concern? Hold on. Yeah? Oh, shady liberal funding network is pushing Biden's hand for a SCOTUS. Yeah, he doesn't care or he'd mind when Republicans did it. Doesn't. Dude, I'm for it. Let's do a sunshine law, man. Every dime you give to a political candidate is out in the open. Democracy rules. You get to see who I'm supporting, and I don't even have to vote for that person. My vote's still hidden. Yeah, that's what he is saying. He's not singing. He's actually saying Magoo. He's in the middle of Magoo. So yeah. All right. We know that Sean is miserable. He opened his show with the Olympic fanfare masks China's human rights abuses, horrible, tainted, then to malignant Republic of China, just basically like a Chinese swing piece, censored, which means the left is the same because companies have terms of service. And then all of a sudden he's freaking out about CNN, and CNN's imploding because the president of the company had an affair and stepped down, and some people are on his side and some people aren't. Hi, high school. And then the new guy coming in talked about the left side of the portfolio versus the right portfolio, and that's the big win. And then Zucker lost a bunch of money, and then somehow that relates to him, and then we don't know why, and then they're in bit of trouble again. And then apparently this all ties up. I mean, this is his opening monologue. Does this fucking show go anywhere after this? It's like this shotgun approach just so he can get people. And this was, by the way, this is called, this is Hannity. This is an international disgrace. What is? What's the end? The Chinese Olympics, the head of CNN getting laid and stepping down. The fact that Biden wants to pick a black woman for the Supreme Court, that might be closer to what's bugging him. But we'll see. Like, for fuck's sake. How do you even... This is a professional show. Look, I know I'm all over the map sometimes because I'm responding to things that are thrown at me that I don't even know they're coming. Like, I don't pre-watch these videos. So sometimes I'm like, oh, we should go look at this news story. We should go check over here. I wonder if this guy said this random thing that's a total lie and tried to gish gallop some of this information in, and now he's running, right? Meanwhile, misery loves company. It's Greg Kelly shitting on Republicans. He looks like he's about to make an elephant noise. I'm very excited. But understand, Chris Wallace, Paul Ryan, Fox News, thanks for nothing. Just called Arizona, Biden. This is all their contempt for the country. The little guy is swinging at the big guy. He's going, he's never going to be on Fox, so he's taking a big swing at him. And look at that. He's ready. And I don't know if I'll even be able to say anything because judging from this, looks like he's just going to be shitting on Republicans and rhinos and Fox News the whole time. It's exciting. Let's see.
I found myself angry this morning.
So today ended in a Y, did it?
Angry about the catastrophe that we have in this country, a Joe Biden presidency.
I woke up relaxed and joyful this morning myself, Greg. I breathed deep and I felt this kind of exuberance and I think it was like sort of like an inverted Obi-Wan Kenobi moment, you know. I felt a disturbance in the pulse. Because I knew I could feel somewhere out there was a titillation in the force because Greg Kelly woke up miserable. Fox News, thanks for nothing. Fox News loves
It's worse than anyone could have imagined. Who's responsible?
I think you are. I blame Greg Kelly. I'm just
people are responsible. A lot of institutions, certainly the fake news, which bent over backwards to protect him, and even a good chunk.
Unlike Newsmax that bends over forward to protect Trump. That's Greg Kelly's response. You're doing it wrong. Come here, Trump. Let's show him how it's done. Hold on. Let me loosen my shoes.
Of the so-called conservative media. Yeah, like Fox News. Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing. But I want to marry you. What? Thanks for nothing. That's right, Shell.
Terrible during the campaign.
Terrible.
They were horrendous on election night.
Terrible.
And they're still bad. They're still bad. Now, Jen Psaki, there's no greater liar other than Joe Biden in the government. I mean, we all see it. What a terrible.
Do we now?
job she's doing and the lack of respect that she
There's no greater liar than Biden in the thing, but we see the job she's doing. All right.
seems to have for the American people. And her recent comments, soft on crime, what do you mean by that? So,
All right. Soft on crime? What do you mean by that? I mean, the president just offered to pardon people who beat cops nearly to death.
not too long ago, she was on Fox News. It was in the morning, and they kept teasing it all morning long. Jen Psaki's coming up. And like a fool, I stuck around because I wanted to see the fire.
Gets you like I guess it doesn't pay to be a gullible asshole, does it, Greg?
You know, because there are a lot of questions to pose to her.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what happened.
Great to have you, and we have so much to cover with you. I want to start with the voting rules.
Good morning to you, Jen. By the way, it's hard to find two Bengal fans in the same room.
That's right.
And we've done it.
Can I join the party?
Big game this weekend. Big game on Saturday. Go
Big game.
Bengals.
We'll be all playing that. And hopefully there will be no breaking news that you have to deal with, Jen, during the Bengals game. We will try to protect you from
Thanks for being here.
When the president said,
Oh, my God. They were cordial on a news program. Don't they understand? They're supposed to fling shit at the camera in their own studios.
looks at his watch and says, I guess I'll go another 24 minutes. I'm curious what your exact heart rate was at that time.
She's trying to slam Biden when he's like, I'm going to do another half hour of my freewheeling press conference with no guide rails. And she's like, doesn't that scare you? Because he's such a dizzy old bastard. And she's like, no.
I'm a pretty chill person in general. I may not always seem that way in the briefing room, and that's what he's used to. So
Jen,
I knew he was having a good time.
Well, I was having a heart attack for you.
Thank you for being here today. Please come back. We'll do it more often.
Good luck to the Bengals, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Good luck to the Bengals, everyone. That is wonderful.
A job interview? Maybe it was.
Yeah. She's going to go to Fox afterwards, like Kellyanne Conway and Kayleigh McEnany. P.S. dipshit. This is why you don't actually have any actual interviews. And can I say for the record, nothing is stopping Greg Kelly from getting a press pass in the White House briefing room. Nothing. Totally could do it. He's got a nighttime show. He could drag his stupid ass over there anytime he wants to. Fly in the day, sit there, do the whole like press conference, ask his couple of questions, slide his shit in there, and then bugger off and do a show, right? What's stopping you? Besides cowardice and weakness and idiocy, and the Newsmax probably has you on a tight leash.
What was that? Now, I actually don't blame.
Well, what was that? I'll tell you what it was, Greg. It was you editing all the substance out of an interview. I mean, that's what it was. We just saw a couple of glad-handing things, and then there was a lot of editing between them, meaning that any substantive questions or ideas that were presented were removed by you or one of your editors or somebody. Probably just the editor, because you don't actually look at the shit. And that's what we watched. We watched an edit. Yeah.
Perino and Hemmer, nice people, good at what they do usually. They have bosses, all right? They have bosses. And you know who one of their bosses is? Rhino Paul Ryan, former Speaker of the House, former running mate to Mitt Romney. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody who actually got some shit done, even if I didn't like it. Managed to get stuff done and halted a lot of Democratic plans while he was in office. He did a lot of gnarly shit that I don't like, which you should like for some fucking reason.
Paul Ryan is on the board of News Corp, gets hundreds of thousands.
Oh, Jessica's asking why I set a goal of 666,666 stars. Because it started out as a joke about 666 Fifth Avenue, which Jared Kushner owns. So the Trump family has a financial stake in 666 Fifth Avenue until the Chinese bailed them out. So we're trying to make money I want to buy 666 Fifth Avenue, because hey, Jared couldn't afford it and he owned it, so why can't I? That's why, by the way. I'm referencing the fact And welcome. If you're a new troll, thanks for being here. Don't forget to type more stuff in there.
Dollars a year, and by all accounts has a major impact on how Fox News views the world, covers the world, how they might treat somebody like Jen Psaki. Now, Paul.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They're supposed to violently attack her, Greg. Greg, you do realize there's a reason why you don't have any guests, right? Could this possibly be the moment when he suddenly becomes aware, like, oh shit, that's why nobody wants to talk to me, even on the bus.
Ryan,
I think so too,
remember
Andrea.
him primarily for, let's face it, tripping up or trying to trip up Donald Trump. He let everybody know in big ways and small that he did not like the president. And that was really, really sad. Now, I was actually kind of pleased.
Well, sad for you. I mean, the Republican Party now, though, has shifted back over to telling him to go fuck himself. So, it's fine. Why is that not opening? I'm curious. Hold on. Let's see, Stream Deck. Close window. I've got to reopen my Stream Deck because it's acting weird. Let's see. All right, anyways.
Paul Ryan decided to pack it in. The fake news was excited. I didn't realize, though, how excited Paul Ryan was. I'll get to that in a moment. But first, here he is on the way out.
An unexpected announcement rocks Washington this morning.
No, it wasn't unexpected. Dude got a huge corporate tax cut and then decided to leave and work in corporate America.
Paul Ryan will not seek re-election.
The House Speaker Paul Ryan announces he will not seek re-election. Another reminder of the difficult midterm environment for Republicans and of the dramatic evolution of the GOP under President Trump.
All right, so he's out. Or is he out?
Oh my God, he didn't disappear entirely. He went to work for Fox News and Republican think tanks. What does he think he is? A former Republican Speaker of the House? Hi, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. I'm the only person who takes these clips on all the way through. This is the shit they post, and I don't pre-watch it. I don't prejudge it. I don't do any of that. I just watch it, and just like you and me together, respond to this live. And also, thank you, trolls, for joining us today. We got a good number of trolls in here. Don't forget to hit the thumbs down if you're a troll, and write something in the chat, because every time you write something, it tells the algorithm, that guy's interesting. So, and everybody else, please say hi. Say where you're from, if you feel like doing that, or say where you'd like to go instead. Whatever works, that's fine.
His Twitter page today. Take a look at this. It's got millions of followers. Good for him. And look at what his bio is, okay? A little bit closer, please. Office of the 54th Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. Well, he's been out for 4 years. Why does it...
It's the same reason Trump says office of the 45th president of the United States. Is he fucking with you? You do realize that's part of the problem that people have with Trump, right? Is that he's got his stationery makes it look like he's still president. You do. All right. I mean, I don't want to stop him attacking, rhinos and whatnot. I mean, this GOP on elephant on elephant crime is fine by me.
Say office. Hi. Because he takes it with him, okay? He's selling what the American people gave him, the speakership, through our representatives. He's selling his office. That's what he does. That's what...
Hey, what the fuck are you talking about? He's not in office anymore.
They all do.
Look, he's in it for the fame. Who? Like, look at this empty space here. Fill the fucking chyron, you lazy bastard. What? Just put Paul Ryan is in it for the fame. You've got plenty of room. What is happening?
And when you're the speaker, wow, you can do very, very well. Former speaker.
He's not.
Speaker. I don't think it.
Yeah, what's a former speaker? He as a former speaker, good Lord.
There's that much. Everybody was estimating he's going to make a lot of money. A guy that young who ran with, look at this, the kind of board that he would go after would probably pay between $250,000 and $300,000 a year, and he could probably get 3 or 4 of them. He's got about 1 million other business interests as well.
Yes, I don't understand why Republicans and the right wing have to attack people for being successful.
And of course, there is Fox News. He is on the board of Fox News. And a lot of us think that we see his handiwork all over what they put out on air. And that's really, really unfortunate for a place that's supposed to be fair and balanced. A little bit more on Fox.
And yes, he did say more on Fox, which I think is an apt description. Also, you can't use the fair and balanced phrase and then get mad because they had a little Bengals conversation with Psaki in an interview you cut to pieces.
Remember Jim Acosta, that idiotic blowhard from CNN? I mean,
he is from CNN, yeah. By the way, the media are so full of themselves. Do you think Greg knows he's in the media? I mean, it's Newsmax, so it's the media, but
really, they don't get any worse than this guy. And remember when he pushed that White House aide? He was giving it to Donald Trump. It was time for him to relinquish the mic. He wouldn't. He shoved her. It was a bad, bad moment. And they suspended his White House credentials for 2 days or something like that. No big deal. It doesn't infringe on anybody's First Amendment right. You don't have a right to access the White House grounds. Certainly.
Well, they won't let you on the grounds, I suppose. I mean, you do. You have the right to try and access it. You have a show. You could do it. I mean, I'd love to do it. Anybody who's got pointers on how to get press creds for any of the White House briefings, I'd love to sit there and ask a couple questions or take notes or be on camera behind them going, mm-hmm. But anyways.
After you pushed a White House reporter, anyway, the media went nuts.
Who was trying to grab the mic out of his hand, right?
And Jim Acosta was reissued his press pass, and I couldn't believe it. They treated him like he was the president. Look at this. And look at how
they did. Oh, because he came out to the gaggle of reporters and gave a statement.
Self-righteous and pompous the guy is. Take a look.
I'm very grateful for what happened today, and grateful for my colleagues in the press.
It's the pompous gratitude that bothers me. You know what I mean? To say thank you so egotistically.
Good bias through all of this. This was a test, and I think we passed the test. Journalists need to know that in this country, their First Amendment rights, freedom of the press, are sacred.
A total joke.
Because he's in the press, I'm in the press, and I'm in basically a converted office space doing this show. I'm not even wearing pants. This is shit.
Push a White House aide. You don't have to be let back into the White House, but the whole swamp stood up for this guy, including Fox News. This is when they totally lost it. Fox News stands with CNN. Passes for working White House journalists should never be weaponized. Weaponized? He pushed a girl and they took it away. Look at that. Fox News stands with...
Oh, they did extra work on the graphics today.
CNN? Give me a break. You can stand with CNN all you want. Stand with them now. Let's see that. It got worse. Do you remember during the campaign?
Also, by the way, is it just me or is Newsmax ultimately, I mean, he's obviously attacking Fox, but he and Hannity are both engaged in the same kind of bullshit. Is he just like cribbing from Hannity, whatever Hannity does? Like, they attack CNN, I'll attack Fox. It's the same thing.
A phony baloney story that never should have been published. The Atlantic magazine alleged that Donald Trump, in a cemetery called The War Dead, Losers and Suckers. Now, if you go through the story, it's not worth the paper it's written on.
Well, in your opinion, obviously.
Can't have a story of that potential impact as thinly sourced as they had it.
Well, there's only two people present, and one of them's a president, the other one's a general, and the general says it. I mean, it's obviously a he said situation, but you got to take, if you're going to print the story, you can't just ignore it because there isn't a third person present. The fuck is that? Then you can just guarantee that, any untoward statement or behavior or any, violent or criminal act, as long as there's only a second person, you need at least 3 people for something violent or awful that happened. What's your argument other than the fact that he just wants to not believe it's true?
I think we could never do anything like that. No way. Zero chance.
Well, that's because you have no access and no one will talk to you. The general that talked to the writer from the Atlantic, that was a source. They talk back and forth to each other, whereas no one wants to talk to you, Greg. Not on the bus, not while you make a fuss, not in a van, not in the can.
Who backed them up? Right?
1,200 people in the chat, 1.2K in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. Like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. We'll get to some fun stuff in a moment. This is just aggravating.
Hey, within hours.
My
sources include 2 senior former Trump administration officials who were on the trip to France where these remarks allegedly were made. They confirmed key parts of the Atlantic article and certainly described a pattern of behavior by the president in describing war veterans and wounded warriors that coincides with the description in the Atlantic article.
This happens a lot in journalism.
This happens a lot. They confirm actual details. Don't they realize that when Trump... follow Greg Kelly's lead. When Trump walks by, you lay down, you stick your tongue out, and if he wants to teabag you, he will. And he'll only do it if you really are sufficiently loyal. And good fucking God. All they're doing is sourcing what... They had agreeing sources.
Somebody has a big article. Make one phone call. Yeah, everything in the story is true, right? Everything is story. You don't have to cite them anymore.
Is that what? She's making the phone call. He thinks that because she's on the phone with Fox, that she was just on the phone with the reporter from the Atlantic. Is this him just not understanding that graphic? Fucking hell.
It's good. It's ridiculous. It's wrong. But that gave the conservative media imprint on the story, and they ran with it. Wow.
When you hear these remarks, suckers, losers, recoiling from amputees, what does it tell you about President Trump's soul and the life he leads?
The mainstream media was able to look.
That's it. C-SPAN? Where's that guy from? He looks like a college journalism professor. I'm not familiar with who that dude is. Is he supposed to be somebody who works at Fox? Is that what we're supposed to think?
But he's behind this story. What does it tell you about the president's soul? But...
I don't know. Well, hold on. Oh, he goes to break and comes back. Hold on.
My personal favorite, or my least favorite, is Wallace. Chris Wallace.
Oh, God. Fucking Chris Wallace, right? Right? Doesn't he understand that he is the secretary in charge of Gish Gallops in a debate for Donald Trump? He can't push back on one of Trump's answers. That's not right. How in the world?
Fact that he was not fired by Fox News the moment after that debate, that second debate in the fall of 20
is telling that it would be really obvious that they were in the tank.
20 was over. That tells you about how fair and balanced Fox News is. This guy did everything he could to hurt Trump and help Biden.
No. Oh, no. Luckily, Trump had all the best words, and he could just whip them out anytime he wanted to. He could just say stuff that in the middle of it would just
drown
take
your
an idea.
Endless torment of, what they do. They have an endless list of propaganda and propaganda methods.
The nice thing about Trump was it didn't matter. Chris Wallace could throw anything at him.
Assuming you're believing in atmospheric filth.
Trump always had the ability to turn it all around and
action replays in magnified fortune
that no one could rebut. Try as he might, Chris Wallace tried to ruin Donald Trump, and still Donald Trump was able to talk his way out.
Michigan gave us Boateng. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
Yes, nuclear stockpiles.
He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why was he given tens of millions?
All right, but he wasn't given tens of millions of dollars. That is totally discredited.
We've already been through.
Totally discredited.
We've already been through this. I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial subjects. Well, you know, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a judgment call here.
Gets $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow.
Again, by the way, Hunter Biden didn't get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow. It was the mayor of Moscow's wife who gave Rosemont Seneca $3.5 million to invest, of which, if it made money based on the investments that they put it into, they would get a percentage of, like an agent. They don't get to keep the $3.5 million. She is now the richest woman in Moscow because of this investment. She gave her money to Rosemont Seneca to invest, and now they did well with it, and she is the richest woman in Moscow. Now, in that same amount of time, Donald Trump's cash on hand worth went from $300 million to $93 million in the same amount of time. Also, he still has $300 million worth of bills to pay. So he's, what's the word? Fucked. That's the word.
Not true. That report is totally discredited. Mitt Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money, that report. It was written for political reasons.
You know, I'd like to talk about climate change.
So would I.
Okay.
And that was it. Donald Trump had.
That's it. He couldn't even, why was he not given 20 minutes to try and sort out and speak to people in a language that they understand?
Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
All he needed was more time.
Soup for my family.
He could have nailed it.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
And then he could have just spiked the ball and gone.
God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
You know what I mean? And here Chris Wallace won't give him time to screw up his own allegation. By the way, for the record, again, it was the mayor of Moscow's wife who gave her money to Rosemont Seneca to invest, not the mayor of Moscow. Trump even gets that part wrong right out of the fucking gate. So if you're going to, in a presidential debate, drop some news, I'm going to, right? He's going to mic drop. He's going to pull one of those. And still you can't get the minor details right? Fuck.
Moment to score some real points. Biden corruption, according to Fox News, was somehow off the table as an issue? You got.
Well, no, there was none. They've been debating about it already. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. It's a pile of bullshit. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. Kiss my ass. And the American people will not be affected by any policy decisions around a fake scandal. They just won't. What they will be affected by is what the administration does about climate change, gas prices, the economy, all that kind of stuff.
Kidding me. And then for another year plus, Chris Wallace made what, another $6, $7, $8 million, however much he gets paid on that show?
I don't know. It's got to hit personally. I'm pretty sure Chris Wallace doesn't have to take the bus to work. You and I do, Greg, sometimes, but not Chris.
Even though the viewers despised him?
Did they?
Why would they do that? It's
I'll tell you exactly why. To give Fox News the illusion of balance. That's why. Because without a Chris Wallace or the occasional Geraldo Rivera outburst, it's an obvious political action committee. So they keep people like that. And then, once they dropped 2 people early on who weren't super Trump friendlies. So it really was all in the Chris Wallace basket.
Contempt for the audience. It's contempt for the country. Well,
he helped Joe Biden get elected.
changes have finally been made. And I hear Chris is never happier.
The more people see of the world, the more likely they are to be better people.
This is CNN Plus.
Good for you, Wallace.
That has to suck. Greg, are you just upset he's working at a real network? Thank you, Doyle. That's what this is really about, isn't it? It's the paycheck. You're fucking mad about the paycheck. I mean, you're also mad because he didn't gargle Trump's balls like you would. But still, this is just jealousy. This is straight up Trumpism. This is like, can you believe how much money Hunter Biden made and Burisma was a criminal endeavor and now it's not, and he earned his money and he didn't know anything about, I don't know anything about construction. I'm broke as fuck.
Well, this is Newsmax, and we may not have the budget of CNN Plus or
You definitely don't.
Fox News, and we may not have the fancy lights.
I have fancy lights. I have 3 of them. My patrons bought them for me. They cost altogether $264, I think. It's not CNN fancy, but I appreciate it. It allowed me to take my old lights and turn them into cutout lights so that I don't have green haze all over me when I'm trying to do the show. It was lovely, and I appreciate it, patrons. It's no $6 million CNN contract, but I'd like you to know from my heart that I greatly appreciate it, and I am not a miserable fuck like Greg Kelly because my lights only cost less than $300. Oh my God, just the misery. Because you have to understand, he doesn't have to say that shit. Nobody at home sees that stuff. They don't know about the studio. That's in his head because wherever he's working sucks. Whatever room they're in, like this place, we had to stop down for 10 minutes yesterday because they were flickering. Whatever that bullshit is, right? Thank you, Aaron. You know? Wallace has been spinning for years. Oh God. But the fact that he brought that up is about what's on Greg Kelly's mind every day. Joe Rogan is kicking my ass in the money department. Yes, he is. But in my defense, I've spent no money on drugs in the last ever. So I get to keep more of mine. I don't smoke any of my money. So I think that balances out.
Got the heart.
That down on Greg Kelly. Oh yeah. Our country is going to hell. We're being had by our enemies abroad. Oh God, just fucking miserable. Look at these are the tee-ups. This is what Newsmax wants you to see. And by the way, look at Trump's face in this picture. We did this whole interview. That's the moment where like Rob Schmidt tried to you're not president anymore and you're not going to be president. What happens, give me a real reason. These people don't like you. He's like, oh, so beautiful. Thanks, Benny Loco. All right, now, I want to do this one because we haven't done this in we haven't had a Lou Dobbs clip in fucking forever. And I swear to God, he looks like he's in the rec room of a Best Western. Seriously, somebody behind him. Somebody has to walk behind him carrying a plate of waffles, of toaster waffles. And the orange, and he's a true Trump fan. He chose Trump orange for his walls. He chose Trump orange for his walls. That's beautiful. Of course, like a good American with who cares, his shutters are closed. Just in case anybody is it's like an old Western. Somebody collapsed on the street. Thunk. So yeah, Lou Dobbs. By the way, he was a Trump confidant for real during the presidency. They called all the time. And the dude, thanks, Bill. The dude fucking lost his job during the Trump presidency. No, this is 3 toxic foods for cats, 1 meat you should never feed old cats. Oh, now you tell me. Horse? What's happening? All right. Oklahoma, yay.
I wanted to reach out and to bring in Lou Dobbs.
I honestly did not know this was a Bannon clip. He looks well. How much older is Steve Bannon than me? 3 years? 4 years?
Lou Dobbs, more than any living American, has been for many, many, many decades warning about the situation with our economy, the situation with our manufacturing base.
Yes, shit that George Bush and Trump didn't heed, but Democrats have handled aptly.
The dangers of running massive trade deficits. Donald J. Trump, myself, many.
Well, no. As far as American consumers go, when we're talking about consumer goods, Americans are buying stuff at very cheap levels. When you're talking about trade deficits, really you're talking about raw materials that would matter, and we're not hurting in that area. I mean, we probably could do better, but anyways, this is all about like Chinese wind-up toys.
Have been watching Lou Dobbs, for 30, 40 years now.
And laughing our ass off. Thanks, Benny Loco. I didn't take it personally. Thanks, you sweetheart.
As he has really walked us through political economy. And I got to tell you, very powerful. You saw right there, we could have pulled 1,000 clips of Lou Dobbs taking on global corporations, trade associations. It's absolutely stunning. When you go back and look at the archives of his time at CNN and Fox, but particularly CNN in the early days, I want to bring in Lou Dobbs. And Lou, I just want to...
oh, Jesus Christ.
Aside, we got so much talk about China, about the global economy. You've got a brilliant piece up, something we've been talking about, but you nailed it on your Twitter feed about.
And by the way, Lou, time to change the oil. This is like a Marty McFly shine or a George McFly shine. Look at that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, last night Darth Vader came to my room and told me that if I didn't ask Lorraine to the dance, he'd melt my brain.
Dalio's book. You've got the show.
Fucking Ray Dalio. We don't have time for this unless he continues. We'll dive down this. Fuck Ray Dalio and his bullshit hedge fund, which loses money all the time, who constantly fillets China because his investment in China is eating shit right now.
Great American show, which is outstanding. Everybody's got to listen to this. We're going to make sure that it gets plenty of distribution here on our channel.
Thank you for that.
But I just want you, sir, I just got to ask you a rumor that's going around that John Malone, and we called it that John Malone was going to broom Zucker and this group of clowns over at CNN. Is there any truth to the rumor that you're at the top of the short list of John Malone's when he's looking for somebody to come in and straighten out the mess at your old and original?
He's joking.
Work, I think, CNN.
Well, I wish I could confirm that delicious rumor, because they're
delicious because of the money involved and to Lou Dobbs, food is money.
People right now gasping and fainting in their offices all around CNN. But if I'm on any list at all, I don't think it's for that particular position. And John Malone, I respect the dickens, but he has his patience has been immense. When you look over the
fucking hell, is that all they're talking about on right-wing media right now? I'm not doing this on purpose. This is like, these look like shit they'd be talking about. I mean, obviously he should be talking about China and economics and stuff like that. This is really? Is everybody circle jerking on the right-wing media about the CNN thing? Do they think there's actually blood in the water? Good Lord.
Who run CNN over the course of the past 20 years. For it to be afloat is amazing. Irrespective of their cave into the left's ideology. I mean, and it's almost a propaganda reel day after day, which I don't think, based on what I've been reading of late.
And so they're propaganda reel day after day, and they beat Fox and in the ratings and floor whatever the fuck this thing is. Real America's Voice. All right.
Steve, I don't think he's probably too thrilled about the joint right now.
What is it about the current kind of discussion? If you just look at cable news overall, if you look at CNN and MSNBC.
Oh my God. No, let's not. I wanted something else. All right, we're going to this. This has got to be more ridiculous. First of all, he looks like he's wearing one of those padded tit shirts. What is happening? That's really weird. It's an odd cut. I'm just saying. It looks like he's wearing a fat suit. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe not. Maybe he's mad flexing. Let's find out. This is oh shit. Salcido and Don Jr. Biden's lack of leadership on the world stage. Okay, so this is let's deal with this. Is real news. Oh, but this says Trump Jr. goes off on Rhino Graham, Masked Singer judges, Hunter, and imbecile in chief Joe Biden. So he calls him an imbecile during the thing. It doesn't. You don't think it bothers him that his father was apparently beaten by an imbecile? What does that say about your dad? How dare you insult your own father that way?
Mother was within 1,500 miles of Washington, D.C. on January 6th. The FBI is questioning her, but people that burned down courthouses in the Pacific Northwest, that's totally fine because it's in the name of social justice, Chris. These people are imbeciles.
Okay, so imbecile is going to be the key word in this. So he's probably going to repeat it several times, and that's how we got to imbecile in chief. Gotcha. It was on the word calendar today.
SNL could run this country better than the Biden administration, whoever is pulling his strings. You know, Biden is deploying, you mentioned this, he's deploying troops to Eastern Europe to bolster Ukraine's forces. Now, critics are quick to point out that Biden is sending 0 troops to protect America's border. The Democrats...
Yeah, we don't use the military. We have CBP and ICE and state police and in some cases National Guard, but we don't need it right now. It's fucking freezing down there. We have an organized border right now. This isn't even one of the spike times. This is the lowest number of crossings during the year of any time. And if you gave a fuck about how taxpayer dollars were spent, you would know that. But on the other hand, Biden is only sending 8,000 troops back to Europe, who are mostly going to Germany and Poland, largely to replace the 10,000 that Trump took out. That oddly enough, as soon as Trump took out those 10,000, that's when Putin started planning for this new incursion in. Isn't that weird? That's weird.
Out of the press are pretending that nothing can be done to stop millions of illegal aliens streaming across the border as they did last year.
Well, yes, something can be done. The recognition that there aren't millions of illegal aliens streaming across the border, I think, would be one. Because it's amazing. Just with a thought, you can make them go away. First, you believe bullshit, and then you stop believing bullshit, and it's amazing. It's like it solved it.
But your father proved that a pro-American president can stop illegal immigration.
Why? The numbers in 2019 were worse than they are now. And the wall has made it worse, apparently. Again, the wall was supposed to fix all this shit, right? It should have helped some, right? A bit? Any? Why is it worse? How is it worse after you built a bunch of wall?
I told you about Biden's betrayal on the border.
Well, listen, I think it's pretty apparent. I mean, he sees it. I mean, he shut down that kind of nonsense. And again, it's not just immigration or illegal immigration.
He shut down that kind of nonsense? What?
Betrayal on the border.
Betrayal on the border.
Well, listen, I think it's pretty apparent. I mean, he sees it. I mean, he shut down that kind of nonsense. And again, it's not just immigration or illegal immigration.
Oh, his dad shut down that kind of nonsense? I think he jumped past the Biden sentence entirely.
It's the smuggling of drugs and fentanyl.
Somebody said, Hal, do you think Putin and Trump are still talking? No. The smuggling of drugs and fentanyl. Oh, you mean the stuff we're catching now? Hold on. Whoops, there we go. Hold on. I'm going to try to find the... That's 2020. That's 14 hours. I'm trying to find something that's older than recent. That's the problem. Let's see. Oh, okay. So, let's see. When was this? 22. Yeah, it's just terrible since Biden got in office. Here's a good example. This came up. Grand Rapids man found guilty of distribution of heroin and fentanyl causing 2 deaths. Terrible. On January 13th, 2022, a jury found Mustafa Devil Reynolds, 23, of Grand Rapids, guilty of distributing heroin and fentanyl that caused the deaths of 2 men in Grand Rapids, announced the 2 victims were 25 and 27 at the time of their death. Evidence shows that the victims were found by their roommates unresponsive in the early morning hours of August 2019. 1 week later, August 27th, 2019. Who was president in 2019? Reynolds sold a mixture of heroin and fentanyl to an undercover GRPD, Grand Rapids PD detective. During the sale, Reynolds pointed to the drugs and told the detective, "Be careful with that one. Don't do too much." Oh, that was nice of him. That's sweet. The jury also convicted Reynolds for the sale to the undercover detective. That's good stuff. Let's see. These are 2021. There you go. Fentanyl signature program, October. This is DAA. Here you go. Synthetic route determined for fentanyl powders. 70% Janssen N equals 145. These are the different kinds. 2019 seizure. 206 powder exhibits representing 382 kilograms were examined. The average fentanyl purity was 9.7%, with the range of 0.5 to 98.1. 5 exhibits were high purity, exceeding 90%. Tablets. State, Arizona. How many samples did they seize? California, 44. Where's, let's see. Texas had 5. Washington, 1, 3. Pennsylvania, New York, and New Mexico, 43, 20, and 13. Tablet samples found of fentanyl by state. Arizona, 24. California, 40. Okay. And then, let's see. Seizure linkages. So 2019, this was their October 2019 report. Where's the the pounded seizures? We're probably diluted with sugars, lactose, mannitol. That's the baby laxative. That's what, if you ever saw Deep Cover, that's what Jeff Goldblum brings into court to get, or says is what makes up the cocaine that Lawrence Fishburne's character gets busted with, who's an undercover cop. Mannitol. Heroin, 21%. Method, let's see. The prominent synthetic route was determined to be the Janssen method. The FSPP has a category of presence of impurities, multiple routes, category referred to as mixed. Okay, there we go. Let's see. 29, let's see. How about 2018? Shall we look at 2018 fentanyl? Seizures. That's 2021. So this guy was busted, was a distributor more than 100 pounds of fentanyl, sentenced to 6 years in prison. He was sentenced December 1st, 2021. When did he get busted? When did that come across? Those made a record series. Oh, they seized it in November. Oh, look at that. So they stopped this giant order. Meanwhile, I mean, I don't want to get into too many anecdotal stories, but while the Trump administration was going after individuals, the Biden administration is catching giant seizures of stuff, and they're going, look how much drugs is coming across. You mean look how much we're catching now?
Scourge to this country, killing tens of thousands of people.
Fucking hell, scourge. He pronounces it the same way his dad does. Remember that shit? Scourge.
A year. It's human trafficking and sex trafficking of women and minors across the border.
Yes, but enough about Mar-a-Lago. Tell us about the...
it's people from all sorts of countries around the world, not exactly friends of America coming in. You can see that by the ticket stubs. I mean, they're just flying airplanes into Mexico.
Are they? They're just flying airplanes? You mean people can People who fly into Mexico bought tickets and can stay. They're just flying out. So they give. I don't understand. Who tears your ticket? See, Customs and Border Patrol or?
And then crossing the border there because they know they won't be vetted like everyone else that Joe Biden wants into this country. It's going to impact our children. It's going to flood an already.
Oh my God! Look at that guy. He's the head of a cartel. I can't. He's on a watch list. That one. Look, and this guy's like one of his helpers. I mean, the whole thing. This guy pretends he doesn't know him, but he's this guy's like one of his security dudes. This guy runs an entire drug cartel from his through his Nintendo Switch.
Disastrous educational system. It's going to.
Yeah. Oh my God. Footage in Mexico of Mexico.
Flood an already overstressed healthcare system. It's going to flood our tax base with programs for all of these people who may or may not, in many cases, ever contribute back into the system that they're going to get benefit.
Yeah, that's what they come up here to do. Not to work. They're not economic migrants. They come up here just to seize welfare benefits. It's an army of welfare queens headed towards here. By the way, says the dude who wouldn't have a job in his life if his dad's dad hadn't given him one.
But what it will do, it will ensure that there are plenty of people in America dependent on big government. And that's all that the Democrats offer. This is simply about getting as many people who will have no choice but to vote for the people that are going to give them all the free stuff that the Democrats have been promising. That's why there was a run on the border.
Well, those folks can't vote. And even if they voted illegally, they wouldn't have access to welfare programs.
With, and Joe Biden has done nothing, but he's more than happy to send your kids to go die in a far-off land fighting a ground war against Russia in the Ukraine.
Yeah, except nobody's going to Ukraine. None of our soldiers are going to Ukraine. They're in fuck. Do you think he knows the difference between Poland and Ukraine, or he's just not give a fuck?
You know, we're not going to do anything about the southern border where people are actually flooding into our states. The criminality that's in.
By the way, this is his dad's argument. The whole like, oh, now they give a shit about borders because it's Ukraine, but isn't there an invasion going on at the southern border? Never mind Russian tanks and missiles and mortars. What's the difference between a Russian mortar and an 8-year-old Guatemalan kid?
From that, the attack on the police that's going on throughout our country.
No, that stopped mostly on January 6th.
Pointed out unvetted people raping children as young as 3 and probably younger. We probably don't hear about it, but you know what?
Yeah, just make it up. Sure, and by the way, again, enough about Mar-a-Lago.
They can have COVID. They can have everything, and they're still going to get on a plane and they're going to fly and disperse them throughout the country and give them whatever they need. It's a disgrace, and something needs to be done. I just hope that American people are waking up to it, Chris. We said it was going to happen. The media lied and told the American people there's no way it's going to happen. We're seeing it unfold before our eyes. Hopefully we finally wake up.
Well, I mean, you're obviously cocaine's a hell of a drug, so being awake doesn't seem to be a problem for you.
Got one more question before we could take a break and then bring you back. In a newly discovered email, top U.S. State Department official in Kiev, wrote to Washington superiors at the end of the Obama-Biden administration that Hunter Biden's business dealings in Ukraine undercut U.S. efforts to fight corruption in that former Soviet republic. Now, question to you is, do you think Democrats would let you or any of your brothers or sisters get a...
First of all, put it up on screen. Secondly, they had business ventures in Saudi Arabia, in Russia, and China simultaneously as Trump was running for office. And as he was in office, they didn't actually stop it.
Was something like this level of corruption that they're allowing Biden's kid to get away with?
No, of course not. And they shouldn't. Again, if it was us doing it, we'd be in jail. They made that very clear. I did 30
You did what?
hours of testimony for far less, and I wasn't taking money from corrupt regimes. I wasn't getting paid for no shit.
Well, not for a lack of trying. Look, believe me, a lot of these folks would love to be in bed with the son of a president or a vice president. It's just they're not. You suck. They don't. They don't trust you to actually be able to pull stuff off. And Trump's record was terrible. I mean, he tried to help them, but he couldn't do it. He promised more than he could. He overpromised and underdelivered. So why the fuck would they give you money?
Jobs in a country I didn't visit, in languages I don't speak, and businesses I know nothing about. Not to mention,
yeah, but that's true of most places.
The money from China, from Russian oligarchs with tied to Putin. I was told that that was Russian collusion, but there's a double standard. If you're part of that establishment, if you're a Democrat, the media is going to protect you. All of these things that we knew to be true. I wrote the book Liberal Privilege about this over a year ago.
Yeah, nobody read it, though. Hunter Biden's conflict of interest in Ukraine. Conflict of interest? Why would it be a conflict of it? It would be interest, wouldn't it? Right? If he's supposedly tied up and he would want Ukraine to survive, if it was a conflict of interest, he would want them attacked so that all the evidence would get wiped out. All right, I don't know.
Ago, talking about just this. Everyone knew it to be true, but the media went out of their way to sell it as Russian disinformation.
That Bernie effing Minton says, thank you for helping us through this insanity. Glad to. Don't be afraid of any of this nonsense. Good evening from Southwest Florida, says Catherine. Thank you. And Thomas, go Benny, Loco, and Hal. Thank you.
Because they were in Joe Biden's pocket. It's okay to be corrupt as long as you're one of those guys and are corrupt. Anyone else from the outside, anyone who...
It's okay to collude with people who have mutual interests and the entire government is in agreement that you should be on the same side. Apparently, it's no good if you're siding with an enemy of the country. Why is this different? Friends are friends.
Willing to stand up and threaten that establishment on both sides, candidly, that will not be allowed. And so there's a double standard, as we've seen play out very clear.
Darn tootin'. Donald Trump Jr., stick with us. I want to ask you next about...
Darn Junger?
What just happened to Rudy Giuliani on Fox's The Masked Singer? We'll get to that after...
Oh, I'm so glad we're covering the heavy news.
Great, folks. Stay with us.
For those of you that don't know, Rudy Giuliani was unmasked as the Masked Singer on there fairly quickly. I think in one single appearance, and a couple of the judges walked off, and Ken Jeong said he wasn't. He thought it was awful. They won't have me on the show because apparently people already know that I sing, so I'd already be pre-given away. We'll see. I don't know necessarily that I want to anymore.
Glad you made it back, everybody. Here with Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization, son of our 45th President, Donald Trump.
Citation needed on both of those.
I wanted to get your reaction to this. Fox's The Masked Singer premiere already sparking controversy. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani was revealed to be one of those contestants. Two of the show's judges, Ken, I believe you pronounce his last name, Jeong, and Robin Thicke, stormed off the stage in protest. What do you think about this?
So much for the party of tolerance. It's sort of like what's going.
What do you mean party of tolerance? They didn't do it as Democrats. They did it because he's fucking gross.
With Joe Rogan, I mean, people are just not.
And what? And by the way, why should being against someone who tried to bring down our democracy be partisan at all?
Willing to even stand around anyone that doesn't comply with the narrative. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't comply with the narrative that cops deserve to be beaten on the Capitol steps. People should take a shit inside and carry around a Confederate flag. I mean, it's just a narrative.
Nothing show where you have people, I guess, singing. I'd never heard of it before I saw the controversy on Twitter.
But now I'm totally offended. Also, maybe they left because he farted in the suit, and when he took the top off, it released it into the room, and it, you know, like there were people from the state of California putting up those quickly, the air in this place is known to contain cancerous substances.
This morning. So, it seems like much ado about nothing. But again, it shows that what these people preach ends up being total nonsense each and every time. We've seen that for the last 5 years. We've seen that on the attack on anything that's decent, on anything that's true. And as I've said...
Yes, anything that's decent, anything that's true. We can't have anything decent or true. You know, it's true that Joe Rogan said the N-word a lot and seemed to revel in it. It's true that he made an analogy that when he walked out of watching Planet of the Apes in a black neighborhood, it was like he was in Planet of the Apes. It's true that he did that, but it's not decent to have a problem with it, apparently. That's an attack.
Many times lately, Chris, you know, the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is about 6 months today, but that's not going to stop him from going after the obvious.
Sorry. So as Arizona was called for for Biden on election night. It's been more than 6 months. I'm just saying.
It's just more and more stupidity. These are the same Hollywood people that are probably protesting, like Susan Sarandon and Jacqueline Guzman, you know, the officers in New York City who were gathering together to, you know, pay tribute to their fallen officers and having outrages about that. The same people who had no problem with what went on with BLM riots for 18 months. I think it's a disastrous thing for officers to get together. You know, it's that same Hollywood ilk. I don't know where these people...
How is it the same fucking thing? The girl, the actress who complained about the cops gathering or the Susan Sarandon post or whatever got pilloried online by largely Democrats. Meanwhile, you guys will not cop to the fact that your supporters attacked police officers physically with violence on the 6th. It's like, I'm just going to blow it off. And you're going to make anybody who was attacked on, you know, during a riot a partisan issue, even though Biden ran against the idea that violent riots qualify as protest. You're just going to ignore that shit. But I think the important thing is that we call in the masked commentator. Hello. The song I'd like to sing for you right now is Cocaine is a Hell of a Drug.
Stand on it. I imagine they're in the Susan Sarandon, Jacqueline Guzman boat. And I just don't think that represents anything having to do with America these days. But again, it's a reality show.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Unless I want to walk off a show I'm doing that's on the TV. And I proudly stand up and try to leave. But if I do, then I'll get... bullshit.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Really couldn't about these people's opinions.
Well, let's pivot to...
Well, thanks for wasting our time, and thanks for wasting your own time. And it's great, and I'm glad to be here on the Masked Commentator.
Reality show, Congress. Your dad had something to say about Lindsey Graham, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham here recently. Can't seem to keep it straight. Earlier this week, he praised one of Joe...
Wait. How am I supposed to give a shit about this? Trump attacking Lindsey Graham? Yes, please.
Biden's potential picks for an empty Supreme Court seat. But just recently, he wagged his finger at Democrats for how terribly they treated Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh. Watch.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life.
It's terrible. How are we supposed to... If we take even a second to vet this dude, he'll never get on.
Hold this seat open and hope you win in 2020. You've said...
Well, they did. They did win. And this is... All right, this is ridiculous. I have to go back to my regular face. Hold on 1 second. There, that's better. I just don't feel right being masked like that. You know what I mean? Maybe this one's better. Oh, all right. So the next song I'd like to do is it's a Lady G song. We'll see.
Not me. You've got nothing to apologize for.
You've got nothing to apologize for. No way.
When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them.
Really? Hello? That's it? Nothing else? You don't want to trade recipes or anything like that? No? You're not going to... I mean, can I bring him a cake or something like that? Or...
I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most...
Well, you couldn't, because they haven't been accused of the things he was accused of. So they're That is, you look pretty snarly, Lady G, and look how hard you're working. And it's very sweet, but you're working really hard. You're working really hard. And then the fact that Trump's going to shit on you just a year and a half later, that's got to sting.
Unethical sham since I've been in politics.
Terrible.
And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy.
No, terrible.
So Lindsey Graham was very upset at that point.
It is.
But he comes out and he praises Biden.
Just stop doing silly faces. All right, here we go.
Pick for the Supreme Court. And a lot of conservatives are going, hey, man, can you at least pretend to oppose the other side?
Yeah, he'll never do that. I think my father hit it right. Like, I like Lindsey. I think he's a funny guy. He's a good personality. But in the Senate, he's a rhino.
A funny guy. He's got a good personality. But in the Senate, he's a rhino. I can't even attack this. Just eat each other. Go ahead.
You'd see him on TV throughout the Russia hoax. And we must hold them accountable. We should be subpoenaing. I'm like, well, you're the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. You have that power. But, we're not going to do that. There's that element. I thought he was great during the Kavanaugh trials. And like I said, I like him personally. But in terms of government, in terms of those things, he's going to roll over every time. And that's unfortunate because.
I mean, can we just everybody raise a glass to the dipshittery of the entire Republican Party right now? Because understand what's happening. If there's been anybody besides maybe Jim Jordan that has groveled in piles of broken glass on his knees more than Lindsey Graham, I don't know who it is. And that doesn't stop them for a second from shitting on him as soon as he goes outside the lines at all.
We'll be right on the issues, and so many Republicans and the weak establishment Republicans will roll over each and every time. I think we need to elect.
That's what they do. They'll roll over every single one of them, especially the rotund ones. Don't get me started on that stuff right now. And by the way, is that real Yeti? Because that's some quality fur going on over there. That's fun. So you just got a furry throw on your office chair. Did you get chilly in the middle of your not doing work?
People that won't do that. Unfortunately, the Senate is filled with a lot.
Hey, Salcedo, do not interrupt the prince under the king of all kings, okay?
Republicans that way. Now, you always have the catch-22. Well, you have the catch-22, which is you still need to win the Senate.
Hold on.
So I work hard to try to win.
Yeah, it's the catch-22 of you still need one in the Senate? What? Is that like two in the stink?
I just want to make sure we bolster and help those who are actually going to fight for conservative values.
That's right. That's why we need, you're absolutely right, Don Jr. We need to primary Lindsey Graham yesterday. Man, get him out. Get him the fuck out. Get a real Republican in there, Somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene. That ain't her state. Who else could we run? The ghost of Nathan Bedford Forrest. No, that wouldn't work. Whatever. Who's the guy Bragg's named after? I can't remember his last name.
In sound bites and then roll over and die when there's actual pressure.
What actual pressure are we referring to? I'm not familiar. I'm sure there was pressure. I just didn't see any of it. So.
See, I'm not even advocating here that Lindsey Graham be as big a degenerates as the Democrats were when they.
No, you're not. You're not saying that. Why would you not say that? I mean, I think it's a good thing if Lindsey Graham is as big a degenerate as he could possibly be. I mean, we're in live boy, dead girl territory, and I think we know which side of the fence this is going to land on.
Viciously attacked Amy Coney Barrett, a woman, a Catholic woman, when they viciously attacked Kavanaugh. I'm not asking the Republicans to debase themselves like acting like socialist Democrats. What I am asking is, can you at least pretend that you are in opposition to the Democrat Party? Is that too much for a
Well, yeah, they would have to pretend, because everything the Democrats are proposing largely is stuff that we as Republicans would want. So they got to pretend. What the fuck else are they supposed to do?
Like me to ask?
It's not too much to ask. Frankly, that should be the standard for our politics and for those we actually elect. But it's not once they get to Washington, D.C. You know, that's the problem, Chris. You saw commentary about what he said about, some of the people taking selfies at January 6th. Now, again, we're not condoning violence or anything like that, but the vast majority of the people in there, I believe, didn't even know they were in there. They're standing inside the velvet rope.
Yeah, they didn't know they were in the Capitol, standing on a cop's neck. Who has not gone on a tour of the Capitol? I've been to the U.S. Capitol. I think it was either that or that theme park outside of Knoxville. It looks like it. One or the other. I was pretty drunk. But who has not been to the Capitol of America? Been through you go in through there and they wand you and all that shit. And then next thing you know, you're standing on a cop's head, taking a shit on a miniature statue of Abraham Lincoln. I mean, who has not had that experience? Please.
Taking selfies. If only these people, whether it's Lindsey, whether it's Mitch, were 1/10 as aggressive on the looters, rioters, murderers from BLM and the other Antifa riots over.
Yeah, why do not, yes, tell them, Don Jr., why don't we take the federal government and send soldiers onto the streets of American cities, for freedom?
18 months, as they are against your grandmother that may have been within 1,000 miles.
Your grandmother's a Grinch?
Washington, D.C., maybe we'd actually see some progress. But since we don't have those people, or at least not many of them, we will continue to get steamrolled by the radical left.
Totally.
That's what they're doing.
That's right. You're going to keep getting steamed, but you're going to get a Cleveland steamer from the radical left. It's obviously happened to you a couple of times, and it's going to keep happening.
Every time. The only thing that's great about Joe Biden is that the level of incompetence, of sheer stupidity, of weakness, of just idiocy is that, like, the American people are saying, wait a minute, even with mainstream media as their marketing department, even with big tech censoring people like myself and others, with knocking them down.
Oh, what? Hold on. They censored you? He's still on Twitter and Facebook. Oh, it's Rumble. They probably censored him on there.
Deplatforming, minimizing their reach. You've all seen it. Anyone who's watching the show, I'm sure, has experienced or been in some sort of, Instagram.
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair, because Salcido's limited not because of what big tech is doing, but because he's on Newsmax and nobody gives a fuck.
And Facebook jail before. Even still, it's so bad.
Yeah, I think he's wearing like a peck shirt under there, because he didn't have those titties yesterday. That's the part that's bugging me. Does that not look weird, y'all? Maybe it's the way he's leaning.
That trillion-dollar institutions cannot run cover for the imbecile in chief. And so we're still getting it through. And
oh, there you go. There you go. It said imbecile, because it says that in the title. Imbecile in chief. So we're back. Like, I'm glad. Imbeciles, apparently, there's a lot of that going around. That's right. Oh, thank you so much.
The American people are waking up. We just need them to wake up a little bit further and hold our own people to that.
Yeah, they just kind of groggy, drowsy. You know what I mean? They're like bourbon awake. What they need is, we need America to be cocaine awake. We need America to be Adderall and amphetamines awake. That kind of awake. Not this kind of like, I'm awake. Oh shit, it's trash day. I forgot to take it out. That kind of awake ain't gonna work.
Standard.
Oh, they cut him off. And there's a Canadian trucker and Greg Kelly. Hey, this is the same one about him being had. He feels had. All right. All right, that helped blaze through some of this shit. Now, this is a fly on the wall. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. These are the clips they put up, not me. 4 out of 5, or 3 out of 4 of the clips we've looked at today are them bitching about CNN on the right, like anybody gives a rat fuck. So, but check this out. Yeah, Magoo. I have like Magoo. This right. Look at Gaetz. straight up looks like he's playing Nixon in a dinner theater show. Gorka doesn't, like, who am I talking to? And Marge has a, like, she's in studio. They're all in studio with him. They just got these weird security cameras put up. By the way, brought to you by Relief Factor, whatever the fuck that is. And excellent, by the way, Gorka, way to show Newsmax how to really fill in a lower third. Really good. There you go. Reps Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene at Rep Matt Gaetz at Rep MTG. And it's just the quality and how it's lined up. I mean, the production value is what I appreciate, Gorka.
If I run and if I win, we will treat those people from January 6th fairly. We will treat them.
Oh, good. All right. So you're gonna throw them in jail and keep them there because they're all FBI agents involved in illegal spying and Antifa and BLM people disguised as Trump supporters attacking the Capitol. So you're going to treat them fairly. So they're all going to go to jail for a long time. All right? Yeah? Is that what's happening?
Fairly. And if it requires pardons, we will give them pardons.
Why are you pardoning Antifa and BLM people and FBI agents that coaxed, good, powerful, beautiful Americans into accidentally taking a shit in the rotunda?
Because they are being treated so unfairly.
Perhaps. Yes, if they were treated fairly, then by your admission, and these two, obviously have visited them in jail. So they are visiting. I don't know why they're visiting Antifa and BLM people in jail, but that's a Republican thing. They're going to have to deal with it themselves. And by the way, finally, they found a camera angle that makes Gaetz look as creepy as he actually is. She looks like she's giving a deposition in a legal case. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't recall. No, that was my brother's cocaine. The knife was mine. The knife was mine. But that was his cocaine. I don't know where the bullet hole came from. It just appeared in his chest. I screamed. I don't know where the gun came from. You're my lawyer. Aren't you going to object? Right. So, and by the way, they coordinated ties today. Did he forget one and Gorka had one in his drawer or vice versa?
The most controversial clip from the president's rally in Texas, the fate.
No. I think
they drown your endless torment of, what they do. They have an endless list of propaganda and propaganda methods.
That would be the part that I think stood out for most of us, not his bullshit about pardoning them, which he's not going to do. By the way, if you happen to be watching the show because they're giving you internet privileges in the DC jail, you're fucked, buddy. You're fucked. You're not getting out. He's not pardoning you. He never was planning on doing it. He's saying that at his rally so that his dipshit followers will keep giving him money. That's that Save America PAC that he basically sucks cash out of to pay his bills. He needs you to keep flooding that thing with cash. He has no plans on actually pardoning any of these assholes. None. And he could have done it. He could have done it. He didn't. Why? It's not like it was the next day. It wasn't like, Biden got sworn in on the fucking 8th and he was like, can we even write this stuff up in this amount of time? He had a fucking week and a half. He had 2 weeks solid from the 6th that he could have gotten these assholes out. Nope. You staying in jail, son. He's raising money off your head, you dummy.
January 6th, persecuted. I'm Sebastian Gorka. This is a very special America First one-on-one because
with me is a totally distracted and dead inside Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, oh my God, does this have a switch on it that makes it not make noise like the old ones? I never checked.
It's 2-on-1. We're going to turn this into a regular event.
Ew. He means him and Matt Gaetz on Marge.
We are so delighted to have in studio two people that have given us faith again in the political system, because they're not politicians. They are, in fact, citizens.
Well, hey, I got news for you. If these two assholes stop being politicians, I will have a renewed faith in this. Yeah, hold on one second. This, nope. Trying to see if I have. Nope. Crap. Hold on. Checking something. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Nope. Trying to find a. Nope. Okay, never mind. I was trying to find something. Or I guess we're gonna have to just stick with this one. Hold on. Oh dear God! Why are these people not free? Why are they not free? Free the January 6th people! Oh my God! Okay, you guys, fucking hell! All right.
Who are fighting the swamp creatures. From Florida, none other than Congressman Matt Gaetz, and from
Oh, that's why they're in Florida. I see, because there's swamps. I see.
Georgia, the one. What? Why can't I go by my initials? MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Welcome in studio, both of you.
Thank you. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, good to be back with you, and we got a lot to discuss.
We have a long list of stuff we've been making here as our plan, as our
yeah, so much to cover.
You for today. Can we start with that clip from the president? You are a handful. Who was it? It was Louis Gohmert, Gosar, yourselves, who actually took the issue of the January 6th prisoners up and tried to get to visit them, refused to leave that DC prison until you were let in. Any updates, and please,
Yeah, tell us all about how are the Antifa and BLM rioters that posed as January 6th insurrectionists who were just there because they were peacefully trying to express their free speech rights while rioting and trying to blame it on Trump.
Of the GOP and their relationship to this question?
Well, as it stands right now, we're still the only ones that have gone to the jail to actually check and see if the
Oh, and believe me, there's a lot of jail in your future, at least, well, him.
rumors were true, and we
Who
did
did I
find
leave
out.
out? Did I get everybody?
Andy Biggs was involved, and Bob Good had gone with us also.
The Bee Gees, you know? Biggs, and then Gaetz, Greene, Gohmert, Gosar, Good.
Love it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So, no, hardly anyone else is interested in even getting involved in going to the DC jail themselves. Now, here's the main issue. What we heard.
I'm very interested in making sure that Matt Gaetz ends up in the DC jail. Does that count?
President Trump say is he wants to make sure they're treated fairly.
Correct.
And then he also said if needed, he would pardon them once he's reelected president. So that's like 2025. These people were charged in 2021. So that would be 4 years later. And let's really talk about the worst offense of all.
Yeah, that, by the way, that would mean that they were found, if they needed a pardon, that means they were found guilty, did some time, and the pardon would just, expunge it from their record and make them look artificially innocent.
Is Senator Lindsey Graham attacking President Trump and basically saying, throw those people in jail and throw the book at them. He agrees with Nancy Pelosi. Well, here's the truth for Lindsey Graham. Those people have been thrown at jail, and they have had the book thrown at them, and they haven't even seen.
They've been thrown at jail, and they've had the book thrown at them. What book would that be? Thrown at jail. All right.
Day in court yet. So Lindsey Graham doesn't care about.
Yes, they've all had their day in court. They haven't had their trial yet, and they would all be out if they weren't threatening the lives of the judges or threatening the lives of Congress people or threatening to spit in the face of guards or saying that if you let them out, they'd be right back up at the Capitol by tonight and that shit. That's why they're still in jail. Like any other violent criminal who refuses to take any responsibility and declares that they are not only guilty, but they would do it again given half the chance. You're fucking staying in jail, dum-dum.
process. He doesn't care about a two-tier justice system in America. And clearly Lindsey Graham just doesn't care at all about these people rotting away in jail, even though they're supposed to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. But do you know?
Yeah, but the presumption of innocent is about the prison time you ultimately do. It doesn't mean you get to make bail or bond based on the evidence against you. And if you film yourself committing a fucking crime, you're not going to make bail. Most of the time. A bunch of them have, actually. A vast majority of them have. And they're going to be found guilty and they're going to do 6 months or pay a huge fine or other shit. But they're at home with their families. Oh my God.
Who does care? The American people.
Absolutely.
And the use of the pardon power may be necessary here.
Yeah, I'm just right out of the gate. Everybody else was too boring.
5 eggs in a month.
That's right. They were getting 5 eggs for these. Yep, definitely.
Eat 2 eggs a day.
I like wood.
5 eggs.
All right. So
I had to beat off
5 eggs.
All right, here we go.
The potential for pardons for the January 6th detainees with President
and me, definitely, and people who have been swept up in this illegal persecution by Democrats against innocent child sex traffickers everywhere.
In the final days of his presidency, he contemplated pardons at that time for some folks.
Yeah, and he contemplated it, which is the bet. I mean, if you're in jail, I just want you to know he contemplated it. He thought about it. He thought about it. Now, what do you want, you vultures? He thought about it, okay?
He thought might have been inadvertently drawn into criminal conduct without even knowing so, because barricades had been taken down, because fencing had been removed.
Yeah, I mean, there was no fence between them and curb stomping a cop or trampling one of their own to death. There was no barrier between them bashing their way in through a window. Like I climbed in through a busted window. How was I supposed to know that's not just how you get in through the Capitol? I'm a tourist.
Time, I think he decided against it because we didn't see great particularity.
And those of you that are asking, he looks like Butthead. I'm old. Come to
with the Department of Justice's conduct. If we would have known then what we know now, that the DOJ wouldn't answer basic questions about charges, about access to counsel.
Hey, asshole. They're using you and Marjorie Taylor Greene as their defense. Stay out of the fucking jail, dum-dum. That's why. You can't go visit people that are seen as co-conspirators with you. You're on the list of people who might have been in contact with some of these assholes coordinating their attack, who'd brought weapons to the Capitol, who intended to hang the vice president and kill Nancy Pelosi and any number of other Democrats and Republicans that they saw as insufficiently loyal to Trump. That's why you can't go fucking see them. That's why they're not giving you information, because you're on the hook too, dum-dum. Fuck hell.
Members of Congress, I'm on the Judiciary Committee. We went to the DOJ seeking a meeting with the Attorney General, and he wouldn't even...
And they went, fuck off. Their lawyers are citing you as a reason why they thought they had the right to be there.
The discussion with us when asked questions about the risk that federal...
Yeah, we only had a couple of questions. One is, do all of them have my number or just the most violent ones? Also, can I get a look at their phone? I promise not to erase anything. I just need a couple of moments alone with it.
Assets or informants might have increased the acuity of criminal conduct on that day. He also demurred, wouldn't answer questions. And if we'd have known then what we know now, I bet President Trump would have issued pardons in the final days of his...
What did he not know then? I mean, he stood there in the fucking garden. We love you. You're very special. Remember this day forever. But now we got to have peace. So we love you. If you get arrested, you're fucked. I'm not doing anything. But I love you. And I will consider giving you a pardon if I can overturn the election in a couple of years. But I love you, and we need to have peace. Unless you're really close to Mike Pence and he's within... No, he's not. We love you.
first term.
Let's not forget the FBI also in front.
The phrase is only term.
Senate hearings refused to answer the question as to whether or not they had assets or agents undercover on January 6th. So many questions unanswered. I actually said on my show on Monday, it's time for Lindsey Graham to cross the aisle. He's no longer Republican. He's a Democrat.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If Lindsey Graham is now a Democrat, bring him over, have him vote 90% of the time with us, because that's what the qualification is, and which means that anybody else who voted for the infrastructure bill, for example, would be arguably far to the left of Lindsey Graham on the political spectrum, and therefore they automatically become Democrats, and we have 62 votes in the majority, and we don't even need all of our votes to beat a filibuster. So cool. Fine. Shit.
I've been informed he's the person who told President Trump that Morgan Ortegas should run in Tennessee's 5th congressional district, despite the fact that we have a 101% MAGA candidate there, Robbie Starbuck. So let's jump.
Oh, do we?
Been right there on this issue. What is the challenge for the midterms, Congressman Gaetz? We're looking here at the question every day to America First of vetting the right candidates, primarying people when necessary. You also have a plan for what happens after we win the role of...
That's right. Yes. Go attack some... This is your great strategy. Go attack some Republicans in newly drawn districts that are more purple than they were red. Run somebody as right-wing and crazy as possible so that off the rails, MTG in a suit, go for it. And then let me know how that works out.
The various committees. So how much do we have to do differently in the next 9 months?
Well, the problem with these establishment-owned candidates is that sometimes they look just like the rest of us. Sometimes they have...
They're indistinguishable. And the important thing, no, don't get me wrong, we only want candidates that look like the rest of us. We don't want them to look too different, if you know what I mean. They should look vaguely like me, sometimes like Marge, not that often, mainly like me, and...
the right packaging, the right slogans and themes, and then they come to the swamp and they sell out. So for Marjorie and I, it's not about select.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you got to pick somebody who's unassailable, who's already, that you guys have that's what you need. You need someone you can blackmail. Do preemptive blackmailing. That's a great idea.
Personalities. It's about laying out a vision for Republican control of the House of Representatives and then drawing people to that vision. The most robust oversight work that has occurred in the 117th Congress has been Congresswoman Green's lead of a review of what's happening at that D.C. jail. She wrote a report about it, and it ought to be a guidepost for us moving forward.
Oh, my God. She did? She wrote a report? Is it anywhere I can look at it? Because I'm sure it's a great read. Does it have stick figures? Love the Witcher's hairstyle.
She did that without even being on a committee. So what we want to do now is we want to take these committees.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can do work without being on a committee. You could even draft bills that help the American people. I mean, why would you, though?
And peel them away from the lobbyists on K Street and the political action committees and actually turn them into fighting...
Yeah, all the people that aren't giving us money.
For dogged, fair oversight.
What would that look like? Because right now, as far as I see, the old stands that when we're in opposition, we act like opposition, and when we're in majority, we act like we're in minority still.
Right, but
how does it change?
By the way, this is Republicans talking about Republicans. I want you to remember this. Remember how everybody's like, I don't know, the Republicans, their messaging is so perfect. The Democrats are always like herding cats, and da-da-da-da. Listen how this asshole is talking about Republicans, and they're all in agreement about this. They all agree. It's fucking awesome.
Does it change?
Well, I think for everyone listening and watching, they may not understand how the committees work. So let's explain.
Well, and I think the perfect person to ask about how the committees work are two people serving in Congress who aren't on any committees. Everybody get out your notebooks. We're going to need to take notes.
real quick. And I didn't know this until I got there too. What I found out is the committees, the ranking members, those members of Congress, Republicans or Democrats who are in charge of the committees, it's very different for both conferences. If it's the Democrat Party, they put their strongest, most idealistic, strongest Democrat progressive members to be in the top positions of their committees. We don't do it that way in the Republican conference. Nope. We have our most moderate, most weak, most centerline establishment Republicans as ranking members, and they become chairmen of these committees when we're in charge. They
I see. I was confused for a second. You mean the Republicans who have been there more than one term and keep getting reelected, the people with seniority because the voters have trusted them more than one cycle? You mean that? Jesus Christ.
They call them majority makers because they're the ones that the NRCC and different groups spend a lot of money making sure they hold their seats. We're doing it wrong.
So it's about being safe and staying in power. Is that right?
Well, and it is also about allowing the lobbyists and special interests to select the people who oversee their area of influence. It's K Street who picks who's on these committees. It's how much lobbyist money you're able to launder back to the party bosses.
By the way, they're not talking about how Democrats pick. According to them, Democrats pick people on committees based on their ideological strength and their actual decision, like alignment with party values and plans. They're talking about how Republicans end up on this. That it's all K Street kickbacks. It's all bullshit. This is great. Like, please continue. Knock yourself out.
The leadership that determine whether or not you move up on those committees. And seniority plays a way outsized role in this. I mean, in America today, can you imagine a single business working by saying the person that's going to make the most decisions is simply the person who's been here the longest?
Wait.
Well, yeah, kinda. Especially if they've worked their way up through the company, fucko. Yeah, real good organizations are run by first-term assholes who've been there for 2 years, decide they know how everything's run, and think they should run the joint. The fuck are you talking about? That's amazing. And again, now you wonder why they're anti-union, but like, this is gorgeous. This is fantastic.
So, though, it was Nicole Malliotakis, freshman member of Congress. She hadn't been there any longer than me. That's the deputy whip. And then she voted yes with the Democrats for the infrastructure bill.
You know, all these titles, deputy whip, this.
I don't even know. Do you even know? I'm not even sure I want to. I think I'd rather be in jail on sex trafficking charges at this point. You know what I mean? High five.
They're like the homecoming court. Very important to the people running and like almost totally insignificant to everyone else. But if...
no, unless you want to pass bills. Of course, we now know the Republican Party is not interested in actual governance. So they just want to act as a stop, you know, as a bulwark, as a wall. Walls work. Look, holy shit.
You have the oversight first vision. Then that is going to require elevating some of our younger, more dynamic, newer to the Congress voices.
Elevate?
Yeah, newer to the Congress. You know, people who haven't proven that the voters will keep them in office. Give them an outsized decision-making point after they've won one election. When you have an election every 2 fucking years in this job. Imagine if you joined a company, to use his analogy, and every 2 years, if you hadn't been Employee of the Month, they fired you. But you insisted that the only way you were going to become Employee of the Month is if you made decisions about the shape of the company entirely. That you guide the company. Even though you don't even know how to fucking work the fryer yet. But you'll be in charge.
It's because it's the people in the establishment who get to do the elevating, man. So give us the roadmap.
You mean the people who've actually gotten elected multiple times, raised money for the party, gave a fuck, haven't in their first fucking term gotten busted for sex trafficking, aren't looking down the barrel of a sex trafficking and doping and having sex with an underage girl. Then maybe they have seniority just because they dodged that alone. Much less that they actually wrote a bill or something over time, or have been part of the structure reforming stuff like Katie Porter and others, where they get put on committees because they actually helped draft a lot of the legal parts of it just by fucking reading a goddamn book, maybe, as opposed to writing a report on January 6th's jail. Good Lord.
How do you change the system so drastically that
Yes, and it is very telling, by the way, that Matt Gaetz is interested in more younger people coming in.
is actually done when we're in the majority.
Well, let's look at what our enemies have done. Let's look at what the squad did. There were only 4 of them. And then they went and infected the entire Democratic caucus, and now they all kind of look like the squad over there. And so we don't...
Oh, yeah? Is that why Build Back Better just passed without a... It just got through with it? It didn't take any finagling at all? Oh, wait. Oh, thanks,
a majority
Templeton.
of the majority.
Yeah, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. I watch these whole clips so that you don't have to, and alone anyways. And we go through it piece by piece, bit by bit, and joke and take some of the fear out of this, because quite frankly, you have nothing to worry about with these 2 assholes, these 3 assholes. I don't know. It's just a pile of assholes over there. But you have nothing to fear from any of these idiots. Nothing.
But I think if we got folks, like a Robbie Starbuck, like a Bo Hines in North Carolina, like an Anthony Sabatini in Florida, like a Joe Kent in the state of Washington.
Like the people who can't get elected. If we could get the people who can't get elected, then they could join us in being one-termers as well.
If we got those folks there, we could be a rudder for the entire conference, and we could say this isn't about just figuring out what areas we can work with the lobbyists and the Democrats to pass some, Mother's Day resolutions that Joe Biden's going to sign. Instead, this is about looking at every agency, looking at every bad decision.
Yeah, this is not about doing anything we can get actually put into law. This is about showboating and wasting everyone's time, for the taxpayer.
And then connecting those corrupt acts to the fears and the challenges and the frustrations of our people. And by the way, we should start with what they're doing to gun owners right now. Marjorie and I have been hearing a lot about what the ATF's been.
We're going to talk about that. The news that was breaking, I think, on Tuesday, late Monday night. We're talking to Congressman Matt Gaetz, Florida's 1st District.
That's right.
And then
they are trying to take your God-given right to have a ghost gun. We call them Holy Ghost guns. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm shooting out the window.
14.
Yep.
They can follow you, Rep Matt Gaetz, on Twitter. Where can they follow you, Marjorie?
Oh, I am not on Twitter, thankfully.
Yes.
I'm actually a happier person now.
And yes, she is. She doesn't have a personal account anymore.
All the other social media.
All the other platforms, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Rep MTG.
Yes,
okay,
make sure
guys.
to look for the verified accounts.
God willing, we're going to make...
Yeah, look for the verified accounts on Getter. You don't want to get caught in a Telegram account with somebody pretending to be MTG and pretending to be Sidney Powell. That's a swingers party nobody wants to fall through the skylight of.
They have come in studio literally from the airport in one case. We want to make this a regular occurrence. Spread the word. This is going to be, as much as we can, a weekly occurrence with Congressman Gaetz, with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you enjoy this as much as we enjoy making it, spread the word. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. For the time...
No.
We are on Spotify. Look for my name, Sebastian Gorka, America First, and you will never miss a moment.
Wait a minute.
Likewise, Congressman Gaetz has hit...
Look how long this fucking thing is. I'm not doing all this shit. They're not that interesting. Hold on, let's scoot ahead. There you go.
Up on my Instagram feed, I think it was a farmer who won your 50 caliber Barrett gun prize. You're a massive proponent of the Second Amendment.
A Barrett? An Amy Coney Barrett gun?
Congressman Gaetz mentioned, as we are prepping in the green room, the latest news about the ATF. How endangered are our Second Amendment rights right now?
Terrible.
Greatly.
Greatly. So they don't, apparently, they have something against toddlers having ghost guns with 60-round circular magazines that can convert a Glock into full auto. I don't know. Do we live in communist China?
Had their way, they would completely abolish our Second Amendment. But I think we should abolish the ATF. Matt Gaetz and I both do. But here's the real...
Well, yeah, because without them, we never would have caught the Unabomber or Timothy McVeigh. So I can see why you'd want people like that running around.
Issue, what they're trying to do is putting these gun owners on list, and then making things like silencers, which you know what a silencer does. It really protects your hearing.
Correct.
Taking away.
Yeah, that's right. Because when you're murdering someone that you're stalking, you don't want to lose any hearing for that or whatever. Like, what if you want to go to a concert afterwards and like, oh my God, I wish I could enjoy this more. My ears are still ringing from when I shot my ex.
Stabilizer braces that are easier for handicapped people, or say grandmothers that need to be able to defend themselves if their husbands pass away. Wounded veterans,
right.
Yes, but this is clearly a very big danger for gun owners.
Wait, hang on. What part of it? The silencers?
Gaetz and I both do. But here's the real issue. What they're trying to do is putting these gun owners on list, and then making things like silencers, which you know what a silencer does. It really protects your hearing.
Correct.
Taking away stabilizer braces that are easier for handicapped people, or say grandmothers that need to be able to defend themselves if their husbands pass away.
Veterans.
Yeah, you can't freehand an Uzi at 85. You need a shoulder brace for that thing, so when you're screaming, get on the fucking floor. We're the Golden Girls. Nobody move and you won't get hurt. Then you and you end up having to through somebody. You don't miss because your wrist is shit, and then you osteoporosis and like get a good brace in there. By the way, all those things you could get a special adaptation for, and silencer to protect your hearing. Wear ear coverings. What the fuck are you talking about?
Wounded veterans, right. Yes, but this is clearly a very big danger for gun owners, and they're angry about it.
Yes, they're so upset you can't have a silencer and a shoulder brace for a Glock fully automatic.
We saw the news that a completely legal type of trigger for AR-15s were being confiscated illegally by ATF agents.
Oh, hold on. Let's see. AR-15 mod, confiscated ATF, something like that. Let's see. News, probably the newest thing. Ghost guns, to ban assault weapons. Georgia man accused of selling 2 dozen guns, cocaine. Sues ghost gun maker Polymer 80. Biden nominated gun controllers. Solely legal. Oh, yeah. Here you go. There's a bunch of things. He sold illegal AR-15s. Feds agreed to let him go free. Avoid hurting gun control efforts. Armed dangerous how it retrieves guns from people who are crazy. California man sold illegal AR-15s. Fed agreed to let him go to avoid hurting gun control efforts. Ghost gun company got $400K government bailout, ending the growing threat of homemade guns. 21 guns seized over 7 days. Utah woman sentenced for selling weapons to Mexican cartel. That's adorable. Watermelon man arrested for allegedly misleading stores during, 40 calories found in his pickup. Okay, he wasn't supposed to have one. Continues to prove it. Oh, the federal government proves it can't be trusted, especially when you want to use a laptop from 2001. Shockwave brace and determine pistol model to improve functionality and reliability. This is the brace, yeah. Debate over gun violence. There you go. And let's see. Results collection, constellation of weak laws, lack of resources, dearth of political support. Blah blah blah. Report discusses gaps, increasing oversight of gun manufacturers. Blah blah blah. Okay. I can't find the article. It's probably only on like NRAalert.com.
When we are in minority,
forced reset triggers. Okay, thank you. Hold on. Rare breed triggers defies. Here it is. Rare breed triggers defies cease and desist letter. Bureau of Evidence looking to ban yet another firearm accessory. This time the agency has set its sights on Orlando-based rare breed triggers. The manufacturer of a drop-in AR-15 trigger. The FR-15 forced reset trigger increases the speed at which a shooter can fire a semi-automatic firearm. Says this firearm makes it a machine gun by legal definition, and that the trigger should be forced, therefore heavily restricted. Delivered cease and desist. Yeah, okay. So this is the video of that.
The FRT in the trigger name stands for Forced Reset Trigger, and it does exactly that. It forces a reset of the trigger with every shot, so that you have to pull the trigger again in order to fire a round. It's a true semi-automatic trigger. On normal AR triggers, there's no reset until you release the trigger. The FRT-15 is built in such a way that the trigger is locked until the bolt carrier group returns forward, at which point it trips the sear and forces the trigger into a reset, whether you want it to reset.
So basically, you could just flick. You don't have to pull the trigger with a full extension of your finger, making it faster. Yeah.
So as long as you continue to apply pressure on the trigger, you can continue shooting after each reset. In short, Rare Breed has invented a bump trigger. And it's a beautiful...
Oh, all right. It's a fucking bump stock in a trigger format. You don't even have to pull it. You just hold it shut, and it will automatically assume the... Oh, for fuck's sake. It is automatic under that, dummy.
All right, so kicking and screaming. He said to burn the 40-rounder. I don't think I really want to.
Do it.
Yeah. You talked me into it.
Now here's the problem with the FRT-15 trigger. You have to get used to it. When you fire thousands of rounds with a normal or even a binary trigger, your finger wants to release the trigger every time. But that's not how you work the FRT-15. You need to apply backward pressure continually, otherwise you might as well just be using a normal trigger. Poor Pat here burned...
Right. Yes, it's a bump trigger. It's a bump stock in a trigger format. Fuck you. Of course it's an auto... Jesus Christ. It's the same reason. It's the same thing they're doing with like this thing. Hold on, let me show. I've shown you guys this before. The full auto Glock. This fucking thing. Hold on, let's see if I can. Yeah, there you go. This guy actually got.
Okay, I got it.
When they were fucking around with this thing, the dude got an ejected shell stuck in his shoulder because it fired so fast. So they fire these things and they shoot some other stuff. Yeah, here it is. This is what MTG and those guys think should be legal. There you go.
There's something in there. Yeah, you want to cut it out?
Yeah, there you go. I can't believe they don't want that to be legal on the streets of America. Why wouldn't you? I mean, what happens if you're being chased by 6 cops? Play stupid.
Is there anything we can do about this to stop the ATF just...
No.
Stormtrooping across dealerships and taking private property?
Oh, but there's a deep state at the ATF too. We've known that.
Yeah. I mean, how do we stop that? Look, that bathtub full of fentanyl tablets stamped with a Valium logo is my private property. Just because what's this? Why is there anything we can do to stop the DEA from storming into Matt Gaetz's house and seizing child pornography if they find it? I mean, it's his private property. I mean, this is don't they believe in private
for quite some time?
Rights?
And whether we're in the majority or the minority, we have an obligation to go out and vindicate and restore rights that are being trampled on by any entity.
You don't have the right to have an automatic. You don't have the right to have a fucking machine gun. Asked and answered. Settled law. Piss off.
Government. What's most concerning to me is that the strategy and tactics of the ATF now lean heavily into list building, into creating an opportunity to know exactly who they're going to go after. And while they're list building, they're growing their power. They're becoming more intrusive. They're becoming a lot more...
Yeah, they're making a list of all the people who have sex trafficked a minor, let's say. And at some point...
curious and more nosy. And so I think that we have to see this endeavor for what it is. The first step to disarm the lawful citizenry of this country.
As happened in Australia, as happened in Venezuela 9 years.
That's right. I mean, look at those two places. They're basically indistinguishable. I mean, honestly, the Australians would have killed hundreds of each other by now if they hadn't.
It's always a precursor, is it not?
Absolutely. And look, when we read.
Yes, oftentimes it's a precursor to a peaceful society. You notice that they never bring up the states that never had a Second Amendment and don't have any of the gun violence we do, don't have the number of guns. They never bring like the Scandinavian countries up. They never bring up like the UK as far as gun deaths or any of that stuff. It's the first thing. Next thing you know, you've got a monarchy. Dude's from England.
Power. We have to put a bright light on this because it is illegal, but so often regular folks.
Yes, two dim bulbs shedding a bright light on America's rights.
Don't feel like they have the power to go fight the ATF, to go fight the federal government, and so as their representative.
Well, no, you can legally do it. You can file lawsuits. You can follow through with it. There's advocacy groups around you, NGOs, including the NRA, that will help you do it if you want to. But no, you don't get to open fire on the fucking ATF.
We have to take on those battles for them. We have to expose this, and we have to hold those public hearings and grill these folks and shame them away from this illegal conduct.
So walk us both through.
And it's not illegal at all. Fuck off.
You are fighting on Capitol Hill every single day. It's tough for those who are outside the swamp to understand the minutiae, the procedures. Talk to us about the power you...
like you're fighting every day. None of it actually shows up in your actual fucking job. It's mostly weird little press gaggles and showing up on here. But you're fighting every day. You're not... writing any bills or constructing anything or actually doing anything of any material value for a single taxpayer. But in many ways...
have or would have if you were running the committees and what real oversight would look like.
Well, I mean, let's take the Education Committee, for example. Marjorie was originally put on that committee. They didn't want her there. Who knows?
Because it was too ironic. It actually pegged the irony meter.
She may end up there. She may end up somewhere else. But the Education Committee could look at the Biden Center at the University of Pennsylvania, an organization that illegally took tons of anonymous Chinese Communist Party linked money.
That's
right. And then they took that money and then they hired the folks that ended up in the Biden White House and gave them a place to get paid and to get influenced by these outside influences. That's a very different approach to how...
Then how did we end up with the AUKUS agreement and a diplomatic boycott of China and a reshoring of all of our factories from there and a directive by the administration for American companies to start heading for the exit? Honest to God, if they're bought by the Chinese government, that's fucking one thing. But they're not doing anything that looks like they were bought. Meanwhile, Trump got us out of TPP, which was meant to stop China. $17 million shows up magically in his little bank account there, and he takes $15 million out in cash the next day. And all of a sudden, we're dicking around while COVID's crawling across the country going, it's nothing. It's not a big deal. We just have to finish this trade deal, which benefits China more than it does us. But we did it. All right. Fucking hell.
People might use the Education Committee. I would use it to expose every corrupt education official pushing critical race theory in any district of America where we found it. And I would start to call into question federal funds to entities that are going to teach children to hate each other because of the color of their skin. So that's an example. Marjorie, I know there's a lot of...
Yeah, it's a great example. And again, Benghazi level waste of money.
I get you on the Small Business Committee, but even in like the SBA loans now, we're seeing racial preference. We're seeing things that harm...
And by the way, it's called the Itty Bitty Business Committee. I'm just saying.
Divide Americans.
Well, yeah, and then back to the Education Committee. I mean, something we really should be doing is stopping the communist teachers union bosses that are completely...
Yeah, sure. Fucking hell. The communist teachers union bosses. Oh, God. All right. I went a half hour over with these idiots today, and to no avail. This is supposed to be, this is a strategy session. They did this for 40 fucking minutes. Ooh, oh, great. I'm on Midas Touch. Go over and check that out. I'll let you guys go, and I'll bail out now. That'll work. See, the timing just worked. There you go. Go check out Midas Touch. I did an interview with them this morning. It was super fun, and I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Hold on. Where's my... There it is. Okay. And I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for the support, the love. Thank you, Ninka Crinkles and Susie and Andy Sarah for the gifted. And thanks, Lizzie Dog. Help! I've fallen and can't man my 50 cal. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thanks for backing the show. It's the only reason I'm here is because of you guys. So thank you. Enjoy Midas Touch, and I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon, 3:00 Pacific time. Tell your friends. We're almost at 30K. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Please think about it if you could. All right. Talk to you later. Much love. Bye, everybody. Oh, that's not me. That's the wrong one. Bye.